Okay, good morning, everybody. We are finally doing this. We're playing Phenomena Recorder slash Peter Parker's Camera just as a combination ramp spell, removal spell doubler, card draw doubler in blue-white control. What's pretty fun about this build, I think, is that you get to go like a more classic blue-white route where you're leaning more in on planeswalkers. I mean, I know like a lot of the current builds are playing Narset and Teferi. You don't see Jason Big Teferi too much anymore. As well as we're also kind of leaning in on Tamiyo too. The idea is that Recorder has been a pretty interesting and powerful card. It is very mana intensive, and so in some builds we compensate for that mana intensity with like Tron lands, Dice Factory stuff, Mox Opal. Yesterday we played a build that was playing like Sunken Citadel and Fields. It was like kind of okay, but I think maybe the best way to compensate for the mana intensity of Phenomena Recorder is to copy fetch land abilities, which is not something we've done yet. The ability to copy your Flooded Strand and get two lands, it kind of like half pays for the camera immediately, and then your future camera activations for card advantage are going to be really powerful. Um, and so I think that that's kind of how you make best use of camera in blue white. You play a lot of fetch lands, and you can also copy your Field of Ruin activations to ramp that way as well. So we're playing. I think I settled on 8 basics. Yes, I settled on 8 basics to kind of compensate for that. Might even be possible that it's right to play 9. Seems a little bit high. We're also playing Singleton Enigma Jewel to help pay for the cameras. What's nice about Enigma Jewel 2 is that it can also activate Field of Ruin or Tamiyo. I think that's just enough to try out the first copy. It might end up being a card we don't like that much, but it does seem like you do have some really good early sequences with this card, and I think it's kind of interesting at the very least. But once you've got your ramp with the Phenomena Recorder, you can also copy Solitude activations. Field of Ruin kind of acts like removal sometimes. Copying Teferi minus is great. Copying Narset minus is great. Copying Big Planeswalker minus is great. I wanted to play more Teferis. I think I might cut the fourth Tamiyo for the second Teferi at some point, but the ability to like untap mana to use on the Recorder I think is kind of cool too. So nothing too crazy, just kind of a more classic blue-white list. Uh, Ended up adding Corey Steelcutter, which I feel like is very nice now that we have Heroes Hangout. And if you missed it, Heroes Hangout was a card that was performing pretty well yesterday because we mulligan a non-functional hand and our opponent reveals Kahira. So I think against a Kahira reveal, I'm going to put back the Verdict. I'm kind of hoping that this is mono Red Belcher and that my fields can just be really effective. There was no update on the Cascade Birthing Ritual deck. There was one update. There was, if you saw the Hellkite version, it hasn't been updated since then. Okay, in for Control Mirror. I don't know. I think our build probably has a good edge against them. Yeah, Steelcutter and Arcanist for Wildfire I do think is kind of real. It's going to Graveyard this. Not sure that I like the Jewel, but I do think it's good to be testing it. Oh, yeah, that's right. Mono Red Belcher has dragons. They used to maybe be Kahira. No longer, I guess. I do probably want to prioritize getting Thundering Fall so I can Prismatic Ending their Planeswalkers. I don't know if I want to do that this turn or not. Probably should do it this turn. We have 3 Teferis, man. Okay, so maybe I can go Jace with Snare up this turn. If they surveil a card to the top, I'll probably field them. They do keep a card on top. Maybe this is debate it, but yeah, I think maybe turning off their Prismatic Endings on my 3-mana Planeswalkers could end up being pretty valuable. They have no Flage because they're on Kahira. Camera lets you tick down Lotus Field in 2 turns. Tick down Lotus in 2 turns. Tick down. I don't know what this means. All right, let's go Jace with Snare up. I think. Yeah. We gotta get the stream on the road to some extent too. If they have Force of Negation, they've got Force of Negation. Oh, they don't have anything. Oh, take down Lotus Bloom, I see. There's the hinge. And they pass the turn. All right, so they're gonna Solitude me. Finding a white card would be, I think, the #1 priority. Pretty good white card. Pretty good. All right, I think our build is probably pretty good in the control mirror under further inspection. CK with the 54 months. Hope you're doing well. All right. A brick on the hinge here. Not really anything I could snare that matters, because if they play Scepter, I just bounce it with Teferi. Okay, I mean, I could have snared that, but I think we're also okay with this outcome. Aquaman with the 61. Blue-white control on camera, what a wonderful thing. Dude, you deserve this. I know it's like the camera just rewards all of the classic blue-white cards, which feels so fresh, which is just funny because these are all the old cards and they feel fresh, but I have definitely liked this so far. Yeah, we'll graveyard another Teferi, I guess. I do want to be able to minus on a Scepter if I can. Maybe that's not all that important. Seems okay to be able to do. They traded 2 cards for stock up. Hey, don't talk bad about stock up on this channel, bucko. So Esper Blinkless with no Solitude from top 8 of the Pro Tour seems like more of a meta call versus combo. Any thoughts on if it would be the normal popular? I agree completely that was like a meta call versus the very combo heavy PT. What's weird is that I don't really understand how they landed on that decision instead of to just play a different deck. You know what I mean? Because like Blink is like good because it's good against creatures, I think, and I don't think it's good because it's a great interactive deck. But it did, like, those builds did do better, so there does seem to be something I'm missing with my thought process, maybe. But I'm a little confused about it. Wouldn't hate drawing a camera. Do you think Star Chart will get banned because of how close your symbols stick to your time? For sure. Sell. I can see no other outcome. I'm gonna try to copy Scepter Activation. We tried yesterday. It didn't come up. Alright, seems fine. Flip over a Force of Negation, not doing a lot with good old boy here. Let that happen. Can just cast the other Solitude end of turn, and if somehow we need to fight over something instead, we can Prismatic Ending the Narset. Okay, so Prismatic Ending the Narset it is. I guess I'll Force of Negation. Right, let's wait a turn on Narset here, so we can hold up double counter snare. Yeah, I think the troll. I answered the question. Do you think Consultant Search Arts will be banned? In a joking way, because I thought it was a joke. So maybe I should have played a Narset. I think you just let this go. No, you play the Solitude and then you let it go. Like, my hand's pretty good, but like it just ends the turn, and then we both have 7 cards, and I've got a better board. And then okay, now I just get to Narset Days and Doing You. Listen, I'm gonna be nice. I'm just gonna main phase it. I'm not gonna activate my other planeswalkers. I know I could draw step it. I'm not gonna attack. I'm just gonna say you're dead. Let's go to game 2. I'm doing this for you, so the stream is faster. This is my 3rd match in this league. I played Narset and Doing 3 times in a row. This is the first time I've played it in so long. Yeah, Big Teferi has been pretty dang good today. All right, so bring in the dispute and the force and subtleties. Setting the verdicts. The endings end up being kind of okay to just get Planeswalker off the field. Maybe like 3-3 split with Solitude. Everyone's trying to make the finals, but chipped in. Also a hero deck. Control mirrors are my favorite to play. Yeah, I remember when I was like an up and coming grinder in my local area, my hero Zach Elsick put me on the control part of our team unified standard team, and he said, "There's no one I trust more in a control mirror than you," and it like made my heart flutter. Might even keep a one lander. We're on the draw. We have an archive. We have a Tamiyo. We have a force. We have a Narset. Wait, this hand is just so sick. We have 25 lands. This hand just has everything, and it has 3 looks at land number 2, and camera can ramp too. I'm just gonna keep. You might call me greedy. I might call you a coward. What do you think of High Noon? High Noon could be good. I feel like I don't really respect prowess enough, but I should respect it probably a bit more. Don't think I'm going to force a Prismatic Ending here. Okay, so next turn we can copy the fetch land if we want. It's a bit early for the Days in Doing, but I just have the Narset in my hand. Well, I guess now we get kind of aggro. Should minus our Narset because of Force of Negation, of course, and also their Prismatic Endings. What happens if they play their Narset? I guess we don't play our Days in Doing. Another Narset. So they reveal a Surgical Extraction. They know I don't have Force of Negation in my hand, so I doubt they would Surgical this force here. So they see my Days Undoing. I mean, I'm basically forced to play the Teferi this turn. Could minus to draw a card. Don't spike, no. Don't do it. Yeah, we can still mind twist them on their turn. Just rip it, honestly. If that means cast Days Undoing, I think that's bad because I have no cards and then they have 2. If that's what you mean by just rip it. Looking for a Force of Negation here. Oh, wait, they just surgicaled me. Duh. All right, I'm going to take Counterspell. Still think we minus here because they could draw Prismatic Ending. Not a lot of reason not to. So maybe they have Force and they're thinking about what to pitch. Minus afraid is nothing. Yeah, that's the joke. That's why I zoomed in the Narset there. I don't know. And all jokes are much better when you get to explain them to your friend. All right, Teferi resolved, and we'll see if they Days Undoing me just doesn't matter that much because I get to draw 2. Okay, they minus on the camera. Then they brick on their Narset. I guess that's something we can both do. I guess there's not much reason to play the camera out. I guess their Days Undoing is. All right, no one can do anything. Just cast Days. The thing is, if I cast Days, they have 2 cards, I have 0. So, like, that doesn't seem good, right? Oh, sorry. Missed the rest of the comment. They find a Prismatic Ending, so I guess we're going to lose this one. Maybe I should have copied the Surveil. We got some outs. Maybe I should have cast Days Undoing because they had the Prismatic Ending. You know what? I think we actually should have this time. Could bounce no, so it can't. Cannot bounce Planeswalkers with Teferi. If we could, we would bounce one of their Planeswalkers. They have all spells in their hand. 5 minutes of Teferi. Let's go to game 3. I'm going to choose to be on the draw. Don't argue with me. Remember I played a standard blue-white mirror at like the Magicon GP PTQ thing. And I won the match because I chose to be on the draw, and my opponent berated me for doing it. It was very funny. Sorry, I should have got Archive here. Or sorry, not Archive, the blue-red one. The thing about being on the draw in the control mirrors is if you mulligan on the draw, like your win percentage goes down so much because you're so likely to stumble. But when you're on the draw and you're mulligan, it's just not that bad. So if both players keep 7 on the play, it's like it's still kind of even. But when you mulligan, it's just like an actual unbelievable thing to happen. What did I say to him? I agreed with him. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, you're right. I shouldn't have done it. Well, I did that. I did explain to him why I won because I chose to be on the draw. Then when he kept pushing, I was like, you're right. Surgical my Flooded Strand, sure. So basically a Gataxian Probe that doesn't draw a card, but does remove... They didn't even get the Flooded Strands out of the yard, and they're missing their land drop here. And I chose to be on the draw, they're missing their land drop. I don't know, I've got a lot of good results choosing to be on the draw in these kind of matchups. Usually my rule of thumb is there a card that costs 2 mana that matters for them to tap out for? If the answer to that is no, then I just usually draw 2, but... Not like a super hard and fast rule. I think because my opponent's about to go to discard, let's not play anything. Just let them go to discard if they miss their land again. Surely you're not supposed to board in Surgical. Well, in this matchup, you have a lot of things that can be cut. You have a lot of easy cuts, so it's like, okay. Yeah, they did not take the strands into the deck, which is good for me. I don't really want to field them because that could unlock a good chart, those consult the start charts. We'll take the other 2 for 1. I guess I've got the snare. Yeah, we should probably just field now. That extra blue mana could be good. Kind of interested in jamming the Teferi. It's just a little risky because I don't have the archive, so I can't super reliably like untap and prismatic ending a thing. If I go like Teferi, Snare, and Dispute, because they have Force, they could get me pretty bad with a Narset. I think we'll just try to play around that. They do hit their 4th land here. Maybe with this draw, I just want to slam it to Teferi. I think the answer to that question is going to be a no. I think I'll just go ahead and discard Days Undoing. I don't think I need to lean on that this game. Try to find a land off the Tamiyo. So now they've caught up on mana. Behind on cards, behind on board, but not by a ton. Okay, Force of Negation lets me tap out for Teferi. We've missed a lot of... They did not exile the lands from my deck with the Surgical. I don't know how hard we're going to fight over this Teferi. Probably kind of... If they play Counterspell, we'll Snare, and then we'll Dispute if they do something else. Like, we have to go to discard if we don't. If they Dispute, it's pretty bad. Okay. We'll discard Counterspell number 3. Discarding Counterspell in this matchup never feels good. Yeah, we have a Thundering Falls in the deck that I should have fetched earlier. Game is swung back. Guess we gotta Counterspell this. If they have another Dispute plus Narset here, that's really gross. Thankfully not. Could have Force of Negation. I'm secure enough to discard Ending. Maybe. Like, the thing is, if we end up losing the battle over the 3-mana Planeswalkers, I need to have this Prismatic Ending in my hand. It's like the most important card in that situation. So they force pitch Teferi. I think I just lean on the Tamiyo at this point. I think at this point the dispute's a bit better to cash in. And then let's flip the old Tamiyo. It's my last Teferi. It might be. I don't think that matters too much. They got 3 cards in their hand after they draw. So now if they win this fight, this Prismatic Ending is really crutch, where like Counterspell wouldn't have worked. I say crutch? Clutch. Okay, not my last Teferi. I feel like we may have found the only possible avenue to winning this game, and part of it was choosing to be on the draw. So I think we let this resolve and just try to attack it with the Solitude here. And if they have the Days Undoing as the last card, we counterspell the Days Undoing, then we Prismatic Ending the Narset. They do find a Consult the Star Charts. Check it now, Snare, or Snare on their turn when they cast it. Gotta take the Force. So he has Consult Mystery card. Why do you choose to be on the draw? I do this in Control Mirrors really often. I did go over this, but I'll go over it again. The big thing is, if you mulligan on the play, your win percentage goes down maybe 10%. Like there's almost no matchup where it's more punishing to take a mulligan than on the play in the Control Mirror. But if you're on the draw on the mulligan, it isn't that punishing. And so that's kind of the biggest part of this dynamic for me, is that I really enjoyed not just kind of losing because I mulliganed. Again, it's a lot of times how it feels. All right, so let's go crack the fetch. Copy the Narset activation. And then also, because there are no important things they can tap out for on turn 2, with maybe the exception of Scepter, but you do have a lot of answers for Scepter anyways. Because there's like nothing that you really get punished by particularly hard on turn 2, I don't usually mind anyways. I think I'm going to cash this in. I just again, I don't mind being on the draw anyways, because you can just still counter all their stuff, and they're also more likely to miss land drops anyways. And you know, to some extent, also this strategy is pretty tried and true for me. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've been finding a lot of success just choosing to be on the draw. They've got the Hinge, so I don't think that the Jace minus is all that effective here. We'll keep brainstorming. I'd like to find a Field of Ruin maybe. We could do the camera thing where we use up all of our cameras and then bounce both of them again, maybe. Let's discard. I guess we don't need the Jewel, even though I do want it. I guess I could still keep it off this brainstorm, maybe. Sure. They can't activate Hinge? Why can't they? Oh, they don't have enough white, you're right. Just take a picture with all your friends. Super friends now with photos to remember the match by. Long match. Been a long time since we played like a good, honest, like blue-white Control Mirror on stream. So as far as opponents getting impatient, like there's like a reasonable amount of time you can take on your turns. Like I get impatient too, but it's Magic Online, and you just clearly have all the time you need, and I shouldn't get as impatient as I do. It's also kind of exacerbated by streaming, right? In paper, you can have opponents who just take too long, and they take so long that you end up going to time because you have thought like a full minute on every decision. I don't know exactly, like there's also some turns like you just need the 2 minutes, and it's totally reasonable for you to take it. It's not totally reasonable for you to do it every turn. So like the real answer is that it just kind of depends. I'm going to hold up the snare for Frog, and I don't expect them to play into the snare because they know we have it, so I'm expecting to get to Surveil, so which is why I played Strand instead of Island. So I don't know. That line is kind of weird. It's kind of tough to tell. My opponent does an expletive in the chat here. I don't know what that's about. Is it ass? 3 words here, or 3 letters. As far as like how to figure out complicated lines, there's 2 main ways that you can do it. The first main way is to think about what your opponents could be doing while they're taking their turn. Think about all of the common plays they could have on their turn, and then what you would do in response to that. That is the fastest. I keep this. I can keep it. You can't stop me. That is the best way. Oh, they're a fan. How do I screenshot this? Let's be on YouTube. Probably on YouTube on stream right now. Look up snipping tool. All right. Oh, WTF maybe. So one big thing you could do is while your opponents are taking their turn, think about what they could do and what you would do if they do that thing. Just constantly be thinking about those, and those will speed up your choices. And then the other big thing is just experience. The more experience you have in a matchup with a deck, the faster you'll be able to make those tough decisions. And I know that that's not something that's easy to get quickly. Those are the 2 big things you can do. They discarded Archon of Cruelty. They know I have a snare, but if they have double reanimation, they may just power through. They also may just try to find another Thoughtseize for next turn. We do have a Verdict in our hand for whatever that's worth. Maybe not all that much. 2 Verdicts in our hand now. Why do you think Riddler isn't a fit for the show? I mean, simply put, I'm trying to build a control deck that maximizes camera. Riddler isn't like particularly good with camera, so that was kind of it. You also kind of need to play Ephemerate, and then Ephemerate, like, just like camera kind of takes the Ephemerate spot. Riddler is a good card. On top of becoming faster, do you have any tips for people who shortcut too many lines and make hasty mistakes? I mean, you just gotta have really good fundamentals. I think Magic Online really does help a lot with the fundamentals. Narset's really good against them. Magic Online does help a lot with your fundamentals. You like very technically get to know when everything is happening all the time. That's how I think I became a pretty clean player. So just double persist maybe. Can you camera copy rebound trigger? I think so. I don't know if that does anything though. I think you only get to cast the thing once, right? So where did the second spell? I guess they discarded it. Yeah, you just have, there's a lot of articles you could read on like tight fundamentals and sequencing. Another thing too is like if you play too fast and you make a mistake because you play too fast, just try to take a breath and note what happened and then try not to do it again. Like that's what I do. Like I make a lot of mistakes on stream, but I try to make mistakes one time. Like this is not what I recommend, but the way I've always kind of done things when it comes to Magic is I always play pretty intuitively, and I play really quickly during testing, and then I let my intuition guide me, and then I let it guide me, and when it guides me into a mistake, I try to correct my intuition, if that makes sense. They discarded an Oculus, which they could have cast. Maybe they have an Unearth here. I try to let that intuition guide me into good plays, and if it guides me into mistakes, I try to make a note of it. I don't know if that makes too much sense, but that's kind of what I try to do. Double Unearth? Well, me discarding this other Verdict is looking a little silly now. I'm probably going to game 2. I only have 2 Verdicts in the deck. Alright, let's go to game 2. Okay, so we're going to bring in both Rest in Peace. Going to bring in the Dispute. Going to bring in the Force, I think. don't love Force against them. I do think it's better in this matchup. Narset is kind of naturally really good against them. I think I might be comfortable to cut the Days Undoing. The verdicts are looking kind of good. I think on the play I can cut an ending. On the draw I'd want 4 just for more answers to Frog, but I think the dispute, the counterspells, the snare, and the endings just should be, and the solitude should be plenty of answers. Maybe everyone go down to 2. Okay, I kind of talked myself into that. I think the 5-mana Teferi a little high on the curve here. Could cut the camera, the jewel. I think that I want to keep playing a little bit more at the jewel. Maybe it can go down Tamiyo. Is camera my favorite card of the new set? It's very, very fun to brew with. I think it's got to be my favorite. Kind of surprised no lore revealed to MWCs for Narset. We need more fetch lands for camera. We need Field of Ruins for camera. We need fetch lands for camera. No lore revealed, no MDFCs. That was a very fast keep for what I think could be a mult. This hand on the play against Grixis, I think this is easy keep. I don't know. You know, I can copy the fetch land activation, right? Yeah, you can copy Island Cycle and Lore Revealed. That's much worse than copying a fetch land because it's more mana intensive and it also doesn't put 2 things in play, right? So I think you just would basically always play a fetch land in that spot. I'm gonna incept Mystical Dispute here. No graveyard hate, no disruption at Thousand Ball. I think we're just on the play. Solitude is disruption. We just didn't have the white card. I think it was fine. I think this hand is currently looking good against their draw. I think mulligan the draw is fine. Is recorded the online safe version of Peter Parker's camera. That's so weird. Yeah, I mean every single card from Spider-Man has an in-universe name. Very weird. I think we get Fountain and then Thundering Falls, so I can Prismatic Ending and Oculus. These to update finally beat the surface route final boss. Nice. I beat that guy 3 times and I got to the final boss of the other route. No spoilers, of course. That guy seemed tough. Curse is just sometimes super fast and your hand is nothing they have turn 2. Yeah, but they're also super interactive. So like mulliganing on the play aggressively is just not something I think you have a big option to do. And we have the Solitude with no white card, but you know. Like I just don't think this is a matchup that I could really ever recommend mulliganing aggressively in. Okay, so let's crack the fetch land, copy this with the camera, then pay for Spell Pierce. Get Plains Island, probably. Like, look how good camera is with fetch lands. Like, I just think like this synergy on the play is such a nice thing to have. They revealed the weird sponsorship. Not weird, very cool, but it's Abyssal Vacuums. Specifically the green mini. We're gonna be doing the first ad reads on Friday, but just gonna be doing it in between rounds of tournaments a few times, and gonna definitely help pay for the honeymoon. And I don't know. It's like I said, it's not one that I think anybody would have guessed, but it is one that is pretty fun. I don't know. It's just fun to have a good, honest vacuum cleaner sponsor. Yeah, I think that they have like an ad campaign going, like, or starting now. Okay, let's bring in 3rd printing on the draw, maybe even 4th. And cut the jewel on the draw. Will there be a vacuuming demo? I don't know. Esther may come in and show it off while I'm doing the ad read. Maybe I want 4th ending on the draw. Maybe let's cut a verdict for an ending on the draw. You think camera has a place in Titan? I don't know, maybe. The thing is, it's like, you would basically always want to get an amulet instead of a camera, but copying like a Titan ETB like could be like the exception to that, or the reason why you wouldn't, or why that wouldn't be the case. you explained the thought process of the deck is just the ramp being good and additional triggers for walkers. It's ramp, it's removal, it's removal off Solitude and Field of Ruin, and it's also card draw off of the Planeswalkers. It's a card that is ramp, removal, and card draw and control. So all of those things seemed interesting to explore to a big extent. Like, we are still trying to figure out the new cards, but it seemed like a pretty interesting new card to explore for those reasons. You could copy amulet triggers, yeah, but instead of copying amulet triggers, it would almost always be better to like have another amulet, although, you know, maybe that's just not an option for your draw or whatever. Camera copying analyst activation makes the loops less copies. Copying mirror pool reduces clicks. Reducing clicks isn't a good reason to play it necessarily. You also only get one copy of it, right? Yeah, we'll see if they can put a big thing into play. They know I've got some Solitudes. 2 Archon of Cruelties in the bin. They have the Persist. Persist is a lot of card advantage here, you could say. So I don't think I'm going to play around them having a second Persist. Let me go and discard the Verdict. And then I'm going to start off my turn next turn by sacking the Clue token off of the Field of Ruin, seeing what we draw. And then Solituding probably. I mean, we're going to Solitude, but it might depend on what we draw. I think it's got to be the other Solitude. I just don't think that we can realistically beat another Archon coming down next turn. I think Jace can be kind of good in these kind of metagames. It's been pretty good today, I think. We'll see if we get Archon again. Them having the second Archon is just so tough. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and... I guess we could draw Teferi. Negative Emperor 2. Yeah, there's just like not a lot we can do about that. If they only had one Archon to loot away, like, we're just not in super big trouble. But like, I don't think I don't think we could have played in a way that we had another Solitude, another white card, right? Maybe we could have. Mulligan the one-lander on the play. Keep put back second camera. Here's how much the limited cameras on counters and camera matters. In this deck, it matters not very much because you get to like bounce the camera back to your hand with Teferi. It's come up a few times, and once we even like copied that ability and bounced both cameras back to our hand. So it hasn't mattered a lot in this deck. Conservative line there would be to hold the Tamiyo, pitch pending, and that way we could answer both Archons. However, 2 Archons just so much card advantage. Yeah, I think we just can't play around it. I agree, but yeah, that might have been the line, or I guess that was the line to try to play around it. So we can try to turn 4 Teferi off the camera. That's another reason why these cards get better, is you can ramp into them. Blood Crypt Ragavan. Guess we're not attacking with Tamiyo this turn. Blood Crypt Ragavan. It could be Mardu, could be Rakdos, could be a Grixis deck. We don't have that many things that are good for the Ragavan to hit. It's kind of like just camera. And we bottomed one, so there should only be one available. I guess Prismatic Ending would be bad. They hit it Teferi, but they can't cast it here, so just say not Surveil in response. Grixis. But what flavor? Grixis Shadow, Grixis Cecil, very cool. I'd be missing something. Does this deck flip Tamiyo? Does this deck supposed to flip Tamiyo? Not much card draw. Tamiyo just supports itself. Like Tamiyo's just good, and of course, I also think that copying the clue stuff is good. Copying the Tamiyo minus is good too, which is just part of the synergy I want to explore with the new card, more than like much else. So we do have the ability to sack our Flooded Strand, get 2 basic islands, or I guess it would have to be Island Fountain, and then cast the Counterspell this turn. Probably not going to counter a Mishra's Bauble. We're -1 Teferi. Let's hope they don't hit a second one here. They hit a Tamiyo, so it's totally okay if they play the Tamiyo because it's going to get verdicted. Although, sorry, they can't flip the Tamiyo probably. I'll go ahead and counter this iteration. So let's go crack this Flooded Strand, copy the Strand ability. Yeah, maybe you could play Consult over Tamiyo, but like I do like that card in control. But the thing is, I think it's really important to test the synergies with the new card. Like Tamiyo plus camera might be something you really like. It has come up a lot today. Tamiyo is really good. Also, you could, of course, you could play Consult instead, but it's like I just think it's important that you test the synergies with the new cards on your first time with the deck, right? Did you know the Golden Jade Avenger avatar is the 4th most expensive moto? I did not know that. I did accidentally sell mine. I bought the same one right back one time, thankfully. So play the Tamiyo. We're going to play our Verdict this turn. They are going to get to untap with like 5 cards in their hand. Wait, can I? Yeah, I could just go copy this fetch land. They're not going to moon me. Get another island. Yeah, 3rd bobble to flip the Tamiyo on my turn would have been crazy. Copying fetch lands is so good because it really just kind of costs 1, since the other fetch like pays for itself. Croaksa to discard my Teferi. Oh my gosh. They have 4 cards in their hand still, but we got a lot of good top decks with the camera. There's a Death Shadow. Best Croaksa in years. Moon. I mean, they're Grixis. Like, it's just so unlikely they have main deck Moon here, right? I think I'll let that go. Let's another Verdict be a good draw. Let's. I guess Solitude doesn't. It could be a 2-for-1, but can't quite copy the trigger. I still may be able to exile and then block. Seems like they might have like a stub in their hand. Right, dead. Tough, cool. Grixis deck looking good. So we are down a game against Grixis Shadow. Fun thing to say. The Wrath seems really good. Their deck is basically all 1-drops. We'll bring in the Purge. Let's cut the Force of Negations, cut the Days Undoing. Probably cut the Narsets. I think 1 Rest in Peace probably comes in. They should be a Frog deck. I don't know if they're actually playing Frog, but I'm going to bring in a Dispute. I think I'm going to keep in... Maybe actually, I don't know. Maybe I cut some of the big stuff. I don't know. I think this matchup gets kind of grindy. It'll go down to Counterspell. Kind of like that. Could also cut the Jewel. I haven't like loved the Jewel today. I just kind of wanted to see how it felt. Let's keep it in. Lambo with the 28. Welcome back. Croaks are looking good. Right, definitely keeping this on the play. Depending if they go Ragavan again. No bobble. Okay, so we'll play the island so we can copy the fetch land next turn probably. Although we might just want to slam it to Teferi if they play a Frog. To see the Cube charity run happening this week? No. Return of Vintage versus Type 1. Okay, yeah, they didn't contact me to be a part of this trophy race, but I'm sure Caleb's a part of it. Very cool. For a $15 donation, you receive a code good. You get an Avatar Ponder, Ponder Avatar, Flickerwisp Avatar, Searing Blaze Avatar. You also get Vintage Cube enters. And what is the charity for? Was Caleb and Reed? Pretty stacked. Okay, so we could crack a fetchland and crack a clue this turn cycle. Just definitely don't want to play into the kind of magic for type 1 diabetes. Nice, my well, not nice, but my best friend in high school had type 1 diabetes. I definitely am very familiar with the struggle. Although, of course, dealing with the American healthcare system was, as a teenager with a chronic illness, was way worse than dealing with diabetes. Bowmaster? Just down. You can like scam Croxa. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and no, I don't want to tap out. Or to copy fetch land. We can do both. We can copy the fetch land, get 2 basics, then crack a clue. They did scam Croxa. Plains maybe? Doesn't matter a lot. Swinda with a 60, think he will come back. So do we think our opponent is capable of having Mystic Dispute here? White off color, black fetch instead of red fetch. Oh, the red fetch is better, sorry. The falls was kind of a last minute addition, then I didn't make that change back. Alright, I'm gonna slam it to fairies. If you have dispute, you have dispute. Nice. So I guess we just sack a clue now to try to find Solitude. We could just double fetch and sweep. I'm playing around Spell Pierce. I think playing around Spell Pierce is good. I'm also like 2 for 1. Like if I cast Supreme Verdict, my opponent could potentially just cast the Croxa again next turn. So like the Supreme Verdict isn't like a good answer to the Croxa either, right? Oh, and the Arcanist deck is a Blood Moon. Can't be countered. I know it can't be countered, but they can just escape the Croxa again. And also, this is like the one card they could have. It's a pretty narrow card. I think playing around Spell Pierce and going for the Teferi is, to me, it just feels like the winning line most of the time in this spot. I'm taking the line again if I had the opportunity. So I think I'm not playing the Tamiyo. I think I'm discarding it to Croxa so I can verdict the second Croxa also. So then I go discard Tamiyo, verdict with Counterspell up again next turn. I got some clue tokens. Oh, untap just for Death Shadow. I was like, are we getting Bowmastered here? That would surprise me a lot because we cracked the clue. Why are Remand and Reprieve not good enough for Modern, or when would they be? Well, Reprieve is way better because you can play it in non-blue decks, and it feels like a pretty interesting niche. The short answer is that Counterspell is a better card, and you don't want to play a lot of 2-mana Counterspell type effects. That's just kind of, that's most of it, is that there's kind of a better card in slot, and you don't want to play that many of these effects. They got 3 cards in their hand. Dude, they're playing Riddler? How are they so based? Draw 2. Camera's used up for now. Until we find another Teferi. Might get countered. I do think we're supposed to jam this. Not expecting to get Bowmastered because we drew 2 cards this turn already. They don't have any Surveillance in their deck. Let's keep this Teferi on top, and then We'll see if they can escape the Kroxa. They need 2 more cards in the graveyard. If they can escape, it's probably better to go to 2 and not be dead to a lightning bolt than it is to Solitude the Kroxa. But they just can't, and that's the best possible for us here. So they draw a card. Let me just see if this Teferi resolves. Am I having fun playing this deck? I'm having so much fun. So much fun. I think we just bounce the camera first. Interesting. Sorry, I shouldn't have played this quite yet, although I'm probably going to be playing it and copying the field trigger. Top. Oh, sorry. I just realized I don't have enough mana. I don't have any more planes to cast the Rest in Peace after this, so probably should. Probably, maybe even should have done this anyways, but just, Oh, they failed to find a basic. Cool, so they only have 1 basic, potentially. Although they could be planning to concede and, like, still have another basic to get me for next game. That's something that you kind of want to do in these spots. Like, if you're going to concede anyways, just don't show them the next basic. Okay, so we're on the draw for game 3. Don't we want to play Rip? Yeah, we still can. On the draw. Yeah, I am planning on playing more Red-Black Heroes Hangout after this. It was good yesterday. I just want more cheap interaction. I don't think I want second Rip. The Kroxa is kind of a pain in the ass, but we've got the snares, we've got exile-based removal. I think I might play first Subtlety. It's also kind of good against the Kroxa. Then can be just kind of good as a hard cast 2-for-1, or if we're on the draw against a frog and we've got like a Tamiyo and buy some time. I could keep this. Let me decide on the split of Teferi and Jace. I usually just kind of think that, I know it's not the most complicated, but for like mana curve and legend rule potential, I think the first copy of each is better than the second copy of either. Very minor. The ability to ramp into both of them and then activate the camera's ability is interesting. But I will say that copying Teferi's ability is better than copying Jace's, especially because you get the extra mana on the instep. It just kind of pays for itself. So, felt like a good place to start. But yeah, that makes sense, Jeru. So no 1 or 2 mana play here. I don't think ending on 3 is the thing here. I probably got to keep this because it's a spell. There might be a setup for like Days Undoing Kroxa, which my Purge is really good against too. But there's a pretty high chance this dies. How do you feel about Ingress Rampage and Rectos? I usually like Sudden Edict more as an edict effect. I don't think I'm happy enough to trade this for a Dispute. They probably have Quantum Riddler in their hand, right? Maybe we should have boarded Narset back in when we saw the Riddler. They Cling to Dust my Delta. Definitely hasn't been great to draw 2 lands after, or sorry, we drew one land. They take the Purge after some consideration. Interesting that it took them, like maybe their hand is kind of weak to Wrath. I like that Rampage bits Amulet. I guess it's not like a huge thing in that matchup to have like a 2-mana sorcery speed removal spell. Like just sorcery speed removal is just not very good against Amulet in general. Okay, drawing second Wrath will definitely deploy the first one, and then they might commit into this one. Not really any complications here. Would Brainstorm make Modern more exciting? Brainstorm is really broken. It's not going to come to Modern. I know you're a Miracles player. I'm a Miracles player too. It's not going to happen. There's just no chance, really. And it shouldn't. It's really, really broken card, and also slows the game down in a kind of a negative way, I think. So I guess we're probably going to commit to taking a hit next turn so that we can 2-for-1. Should I Brainstorm this turn? I think my life total is high enough that I don't. How do you think camera affects the matchup splits of PT list? It's kind of too complicated of a question to answer right now, especially when this is like, you know, our 5th match with the deck, and I'm just kind of trying to understand the card more than anything else. It's been pretty good. I think you can try to theory craft a little bit. It is like there's a lot of ways to build blue white. Of course, it's unclear if this is the best way. Of course, they do get to cling to dust if they don't have removal. I guess I will get the Thundering Fall since they've shown us they have 3 drops in their deck. Do I want to draw this camera? I think I'm just drawing the camera this turn is really bad if they have a counterspell for the Jace next turn, which they are more likely to because they've got the cling. So I think we graveyard, kind of minor. Cast a Wrath. Thankfully, they did not draw the counterspell. They notably didn't. I guess they don't have Spell Pierce in their deck because they didn't cling in response. Our opponent's playing really tight, so I'm going to give them that credit. Graveyarding the Recorder is also better if they have a Thoughtseize. Can live with that. Not if it hits a Teferi. It's a counterspell. That's fine. I would have liked to draw counterspell, but kind of neither here nor there. Okay, fair enough. They have Ragavan, 2 mystery cards. Cast this Brainstorm. What are they playing around by not clinging in response? I mean, I think what they're saying maybe is they just don't have any outs to the Wrath. That's kind of all we can infer. Yeah, Jace has been pretty good today. They do have another spell. It is another Ragavan. They probably send this at me, right? They do. So down to 4. They flip over a Supreme Verdict. They have another spell. It's an Unholy Heat. And another spell. Their last card is Quantum Riddler. We did think that they had that, but what a turn. I thought my turn was good. So I'm doubling the bounce. The draw. Oh my gosh, I needed to choose a different. Oh no, I did get to draw. Never mind. No, I messed up. I messed that up so bad. Maybe wouldn't have mattered too much into this Thoughtseize. So they're going for the Ragavan. I'm at 2. Dead to a Croxa. No, you didn't. No, I did. I should have drawn 2 cards. I only drew 1 card, right? Wait, no, I didn't. It looked like. Wait, no, it looked like I drew 2 cards, but I didn't because the camera was one of them. Yeah, I did mess up. All right, big draw step. Dead. Wait, not dead. No, they have the treasure token to dash the Ragavan. Can you change targets to no targets? Oh, that's true. If you can't change targets to no targets, then it didn't matter. I could have targeted the... No, this isn't... That's a new treasure. But I had to not bounce the camera, and then Magic Online not telling us our future draws. The 2/1/2s, definitely nothing crazy. I will say that the camera has looked still interesting, a lot to explore. Nothing too crazy with it so far, but definitely like a big, like we have to dive deep kind of effect. All of our matches are really close to. That being said, yesterday's deck, the Firebrain Scheme / Heroes Hangout Rakdos with Dreadhorde Arcanist performed well. We 4-1'd, just losing the Titan. There was